So recently I stumbled across an interview with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and in it they were discussing consciousness. On the panel was a neuroscientist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and another quantum physicist, who was basically petitioning that the sensation of free will is just a sensation, basically saying it doesn't exist. And this is one of those conversations where you never truly reach a verdict. But there was a particular part that I found really interesting. And it was when Neil started to talk about the ant. So basically, his argument was that you can't actually monitor will at a large scale unless there's a giant group. Like if you have one ant and you place it alone, never having been exposed to what this ant does in a community setting, you would never know that its purpose was to build an anthill. But as that ant got into community and began to multiply, you could then observe its purpose. But here's the thing, who's deciding the purpose? Because when you think about it, like when you really think about it, they didn't have to build anthills. They could have built a house. We could have been the one digging holes in the ground. Both are cognitive states with two different outcomes. And that's what made me think, what is the human's anthill? What is our collective purpose that we're observing? And a lot of y'all might disagree with what I'm about to say, but I do believe that the human purpose is to build God. Now hear me out. The same with this anthill analogy. They're all doing this in service to the hive. If you think about it, they also have a sort of God, the queen. Of course, it's not in a literal sense, but who knows what type of conversations happen in the tunnels. Realistically, we see ants deviate from their purpose all the time. When you see a lone ant in the house and there's nobody around him, maybe they're searching for a higher purpose or something. But when we zoom out on the existence of like the humans, the Homo sapiens, it's always centered about understanding the nature of consciousness, of the higher power of which consciousness derives. And the only constant that I observe is that everyone wants to meet the creator. Now here's the second thing that really got my gears moving. And it was when the co-host explained how free will worked on a quantum level. And that was that it was really only two pathways, either 50% of this or 50% of that. No in between. He states that the illusion of free will is that you can pick one of these options, and that therefore you have created the outcome resulting from that decision. But that technically, because you weren't involved with creating the options themselves, that it was predetermined. Both of these states exist at the same time, and you just chose to walk down a pathway into your predetermined destiny. And low key, not only does this make sense, humans have already recreated this process. And y'all already know what I'm about to say. It's in video games. We simulate this process for fun. But as enjoyable as it is, it's low-key a precursor to something else. Because just like the ants, these series of decisions add up to create gates, cooperating in a larger system. And again, just like the ant, there has to be a natural circumstance that is shaping this illusion of free will. In this liminal space is where we've created the concept of God. And in there poses a big, scary question. If the human purpose is to create the creator, and we fulfill that prophecy, then what is the creator's purpose? Because when I look at biblical texts, it looks like the creator's purpose is to reset everything. But then there's the other side of the concept of a perfect world, where it's almost like human consciousness is reset, and the creator chooses candidates to perform as these perfect humans in a separate simulation. And even that's kind of creepy. Bro, tell me what you think of this.